come once again to discuss things.
Okay, well, you guys are Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I am Sid Part 2. Joining me today is Connor Nielsen and Squatch Gang. Hello, Connor Nielsen and Squatch Gang.
Hello.
Howdy.
Yeah, it's like a Who Reviews the Reviewers Season 4 reunion with me in it, though.
Let's, send this as a submission for next season. We'll send this as our submission video.
Yeah, we'll just, fast forward the shit out of it.
We'll be like Travis and Katie. We'll be a team, but with 3 guys. So
Yeah, and we'll just, fast forward it so that it's completely incomprehensible to fit the 2-minute time limit.
Just believe us. It was really good.
Right? So, yeah, Connor picked this topic, and the reason that we don't have Ozzy or Milan here is because the movie isn't out in Australia yet, which is always a problem with new films. So, Connor, what made you want to pick this, I guess?
Well, it was current. It was something new. I go to the weekends. I go to the movies every weekend and watch all the new movies, and I wanted to pick something new, something fresh that no one had really any preconceived notions about. Maybe you'd heard something about, an older movie, and you were kind of bringing that baggage into it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would not want either of you to suffer through Love the Coopers. So I was looking at other Christmas kind of movies that were coming out, and I saw Krampus, and it was a horror movie. And I was like, oh, but it had a cast that was mostly known for their comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard it was, kind of a comedy as well. So I thought, you know what, that'd kind of be cool. I know you're kind of a horror guy, aren't you, Ian?
I guess to a certain extent. I like horror when it's good.
Yeah.
Though that's a very rare occurrence.
Yeah, but the Krampus is going to be it's kind of become a popular thing in American culture the last couple of years. There's a lot of straight-to-DVD crappy Krampus movies, and there's actually going to be a Kevin Smith Krampus movie next year called Anti-Claus. And so this is kind of the first big studio movie about the Krampus. So that's kind of why I picked it.
Yeah, and neither of you follow me on Twitter. I don't even know if you guys have one, but I gave my best summation of this movie after I got out of it that I could in 140 characters, and that was Krampus was ... good ? Maybe I just don't, and that's really the best, because I don't know what to think of this movie, but it's definitely not as awful as I expected it to be. Because it's a weird trope that there are holiday horror movies, and oddly enough, just today on All Things Considered, someone was doing a story about all the holiday horror movies and kind of used Krampus to bookend it. And, there are a lot of them. And I remember getting my mom to rent Jack Frost when I was a kid, because there's that shitty movie with Batman where it's called Jack Frost, and it's this family shit fest where he comes back as a snowman for, I don't know why, but it happens. And I thought that's what my mom and I thought that was the movie, and it's not. There's a Jack Frost movie where there's a snowman that kills people.
Yep.
And so she ended up renting that for me by accident, and I watched that. I have a lot of experiences like that. And then it's a weird trope that this is a thing, that there's Christmas horror movies, and I guess the best summation of Krampus I'm going to be able to give, having not seen all of them, but it is definitely the best Christmas horror movie I've ever seen. Not that it has a lot of competition there. How about you, Scotch? Any general thoughts on Krampus?
Well, the first thing I'd like to point out is that Krampus backwards is Sup Mark. Just thought I'd throw that out there. But
That's a Tony was so. Sup, Mark.
So, oh my god. But yeah, so when I first saw the trailers for Krampus, I was like, I'll probably go see that, just because, I don't know, so many horror movies nowadays look so generic and, like, just not interesting at all. And, like, I didn't even necessarily think that it looked, I didn't even think to myself, like, wow, that looks really good. I just kind of thought, well, that looks interesting. I'll probably go see that when it comes out. And, I was actually planning on it, and then when you contacted me to do this video, I was like, oh hell yeah, now I have a reason to do it. So I was pretty excited to go see Krampus, and it was okay. So going into it, I had seen a couple of reviews, people talking about how it was PG-13 rated, and for me, like, that wasn't a turnoff at all, because when I go to a horror movie, typically they're rated R because of, like, nudity and excessive gore that doesn't really make it necessarily scary. And sometimes it'll be, like, a lot of, like, F-bombs and shit. But...
I like that you censor part of that. Not the second part.
Yeah, but, So, like, but for me, that's not a requirement. Like, people that, like horror movies because of gore or because of nudity, like, that's, like, the lamest reasons to like horror movies. For me, like, the scariest stuff isn't, like, James Cameron put it best when he says that, like, when you have a lot of blood on the screen, that doesn't make it scary, that makes it gory, and it leads to disgust, which is an entirely different emotion. And that's how. So going into this movie, I was kind of excited to, like, see a horror movie that wasn't relying on either of those, like, nudity or blood in order to have its R rating. So overall, I think that Krampus really works in that way, because I honestly think that it's creepier not seeing people cut open, or, like, you know, like, not even confirming that they're dead, really. That was something I felt this was really interesting about this movie, is that no one ever, like, distinctly dies in it. And it's almost more disturbing, like, when the clown worm thing, like, eats one of the daughters. I'm like, is she alive? Just, like, inside of that? That's horrible. Like, there's scarier stuff when you don't necessarily see everything. And I felt that was probably this movie's biggest strength, maybe, was not, like, explicitly stating what was happening to the people in this movie when they were eliminated.
And see, I'm kind of two minds about that, because I definitely did get that impression, but at the same time, I feel like an unrated version of this or R-rated version of this that had more gore would make it feel more distinctly horror, because Connor mentioned a lot of the actors in this are known for their comedy. Like, the guy that plays the main dad of the family, I know him from, what is it, Step Brothers or whatever, and then there's the fat guy. I know I've seen him in shit before, but I can't.
Office. He's Ted Pod Packard. He's an Anchorman. He's David.
There we go, Anchorman. That's it. Yeah, like I know I'd seen those all in comedy before, and, like, you know, there's some moments in this that are kind of funny, but I wouldn't really consider it a comedy. It's a horror movie with comedic relief every so often. I should probably mention, I've seen this movie twice now. Yeah, I don't know, like, I feel like some of the gore actually could have helped at points, because, I don't know, it was really weird that they didn't show people, like, explicitly dying, because, you know, it's a Christmas movie, so I expected, then if you don't see them die, then everything's going to be okay at the end. And maybe it is, maybe it's not, I'm not sure, it's kind of vague, which I guess is good.
I like that.
In the Krampus legend, he takes. That's the thing, he just takes the people away. And so, I think, I had a discussion with my brothers about this, and it was one of those things where, for all intents and purposes, those people are dead because they're not going to have any more effect on the story.
Yeah.
And so, but it's also kind of trying to stay true to the Krampus legend of, he takes them away. So, and I'm kind of with Squatch, like, that part where, like, that clown Jack-in-the-Box worm thing is so freaking scary.
Yeah.
The way it, like, moves, or there's that shot that's inside of a vent, and you see the thing trying to get inside of the vent. That's a scary shot. The way it's lit, framed, and then that thing, like, oh man. Okay, and so I can't remember what I was starting to say with, but as far as the comedy goes, I don't think it was all that distracting. I know a lot of people felt that the movie couldn't decide if it was a horror with comedy or a comedy with horror, and I think it is a horror with some comedy because
Yeah, I guess I'd just say that.
The first hour or so, the first half before any of the stuff gets started, there's a lot of character stuff that they do, and I think the comedy isn't the filmmakers telling jokes. The comedy is a byproduct of these characters in these situations.
Yeah, I'd agree with that to a certain extent, but then some of it just gets a little too exaggerated for that. Because, I really like, the subtle details of, they hang up the Christmas family picture with Santa that they apparently do every year, and this time Santa's checking out the daughter's ass. Stuff like that, that's naturally funny, but then there's, the alcoholic aunt shows up, and, they don't know how to deal with that, and then all the kids walk in and they're farting, and there's the one fat kid that never talks, he just eats, and at that point it almost feels like it became National Lampoon to me. Really,
yeah,
it felt like that family was the National Lampoon family,
and you can definitely tell that the writer and director Michael Dougherty, anyways, he you can tell he's inspired by a lot of different things, and Christmas Vacation being one key inspiration.
I think that's maybe the point. It's playing off of horror movies, but it's not playing off of Christmas horror. It's not playing off of horror movies. It's playing off of Christmas comedies. So it's it's almost like the movie is setting up to be your typical Christmas comedy, and then in that comedy universe, a horror story happens.
Yeah, okay. I could see that. That definitely makes more sense. But I don't know, the first half hour or so of this movie, up until that kid rips up that letter, I was really enjoying it. I'm wow, this is actually, most horror movies, I'm just when are these people gonna fucking die already? But this, I was sure, I wanted some of these people to die, but in a good way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
No, I was legitimately invested with this kid who, still believes in Santa. And, he knows that it's weird for him to believe in Santa when he's at that age, but he still does, because his grandma really supports it, and she still believes in Santa and all that stuff. So it's just, I don't know, I was really invested in these characters, and I wanted some of them to die, but in a good way.
I should probably say that, when I was a kid, I was kind of like this kid. I believed in Santa Claus way too late into my life. And so I kind of found that instantly relatable. But as far as the characters are concerned, I like the characters, especially when we get the Randy Quaid-esque family coming in. But the thing with them is it started off as they're complete parodies of Red Staters, and we're supposed to laugh at them because Red State. And then but then as the movie kind of goes along, oh, they're people, and it's kind of these people kind of learn that they have more in common with each other. There's that really nice part where Adam Scott and David Koechner are in the Hummer together, and he says, "Man, what I wouldn't give for a little Bing Crosby right now." And they have that silent moment where they kind of recognize they have something in common. And then, but my issue with the characters is outside of that, outside of these characters learning that maybe they're not so different, there's not really anything more to that. They just kind of maybe we are pretty similar after all. And then they get taken away by Krampus. And so I also felt like there was some characters that could have just been cut altogether, like that alcoholic grandma who may or may not be Kathy Bates. I felt like she could have been cut altogether because after seeing it a second time, she doesn't add anything to the movie. She has, she just is there to give the fat kid some
peppermint schnapps.
Yeah, and so it was. She said a couple lines that I thought were funny, but she could have been cut off.
My pleasure. I thought that was the funniest line.
Yeah, and then I also felt like there were some of the other at the end. I guess this is a spoiler thing, right?
Yeah, we do spoilers.
So there's 4 people at the end get sucked underneath the snow. 4 people.
Yeah, really quickly, isn't it?
And so I felt just combine characters if you have to. The 2 girls that the red state parents wish were boys or whatever.
Yeah.
I wish they could have. Those two people could have been one character.
Well, like, I guess for me, the biggest problem isn't overuse of characters or too many characters. It's just that Krampus doesn't really do much. Like, the whole movie, he's like, they're talking about Krampus is coming, and, you know, he has that really awesome introduction where he's jumping on the roofs, and then he just kind of, his minions do everything, and, like, he only kills Grandma and the main character at the end, really. He's just really friggin' intimidating, but, like, why didn't they have Krampus start killing all the characters at the end there, as opposed to more of his minions? That really bothered me.
Oh, did it? It didn't bug me so much. I mean, I kind of like the pecking order. We get a little bit of a feel for this culture of demons that take people. Like, we get the foot soldiers as your gingerbread men, or your weird, scary Jack-in-the-Box worm thing, or your weird robot toy. But then you kind of get the higher up, then you get the elves, which are horrifying. Like, they build those snowmen and are jumping around, and then they all, like, clap their hands for the Krampus to come down, and I mean, and then when you finally get to the Krampus, I don't think he disappointed. My appetite was just whetted perfectly enough, and when he showed up, I was satisfied, personally.
Yeah, but the thing is, he shows up but he doesn't do anything. He opens the bag for Granny, and then he has that really creepy laugh when he throws the kid in. I mean, like, seriously, the whole thing's about Krampus, and he has the lowest kill count.
But all of the minions and everything, those belong to Krampus. Like, I don't, like, you know, it's like, I think the idea is that, like, it's not there's an idea behind it. It's just that, like, all of that would not be there without Krampus. Like, that's all part of when Krampus is in town, essentially. It's all of those minions and everything.
I get that. I just wish we saw more from Krampus himself. Krampus proper, if you will. It'd be like watching a Santa Claus movie where the elves do everything. Santa Claus never shows up. Or shows up to do, like, two things. That would legitimately bother me.
I think that this movie, in a lot of ways, is like a zombie movie. Both in tone and in just like the way the plot moves. Okay, so like if you look at typical zombie movies, oftentimes zombie movies are not really like horror movies that are scary. Like Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead and the original Dawn of the Dead. Both of those movies, they're like hilarious and they have horror elements in them, but they're very funny. Both of those movies are. And even other zombie movies besides those. Also, this movie is like a defend the house type movie, which is like a lot of zombie movies and other movies that borrow from zombie movies. Like, I think Aliens is kind of like the closest thing to a zombie movie in outer space. And like,
I have a question regarding zombie movies.
Yeah.
Why don't people just light zombies on fire?
They have.
Like, wouldn't that solve all your problems?
I mean, yeah, I've seen zombie movies where they do that. Dawn of the Dead, they blow up a propane thing and burn a bunch of zombies.
I just never see them do that. I'm like, wouldn't one zombie just get lit on fire, then catch all the other zombies on fire, and then they're not going to be able... Like, even if you don't kill the brain, pretty sure some burnt limbs aren't going to be able to chase after you. Okay, sorry. Tangent. Just a thought that was going through my head recently.
The only point I was making about that, though, is like, I've seen reviews where people keep calling this movie totally awkward, and I just don't see it. Like, there are so many movies like this that you never get that complaint with. I think literally the only reason people are saying that is because Krampus is kind of a funny idea, and so like it's inherently kind of funny. Krampus, like, that's just kind of funny, I guess.
Like evil.
And I feel like if zombies, you replace, like, in a zombie movie, you replace the zombies with something a little bit funnier than just zombies, people would have the same complaint. But it's really almost like the exact same kind of movie tonally as a zombie movie. It's just, for some reason, people call it tonally awkward, when there are tons of movies like this. And I don't know. For me, I just don't understand the complaint that I've seen around that this movie's tonally awkward at all. I don't know. It is what it is the entire way through. If it was, like, really scary in certain parts and not so much in others, that'd be one thing. But even in the comedic scenes in the beginning of the movie, it's got this, like, a cynical view of Christmas. And so, like, from the beginning, I feel like it's already kind of like that horror. For me, it's just never tonally awkward. It's the same tone all the way through. And, I don't know. I really liked it.
I think they have a hard time really structuring with the comedy. And like, maybe it's just the actors really can't do anything beyond comedy. Like, you know, when they got the shotgun and they're going after the Jack-in-the-Box in the living room and stuff, that gets, like, way too silly, when that thing's, like, as soon as the Jack-in-the-Box finally comes on screen, like, you know, we see the gingerbread man, and that was pretty creepy, but those are still kind of silly because it's gingerbread man. The Jack-in-the-Box was legitimately terrifying, and then when you have the grandma about to shoot the Jack-in-the-Box with the shotgun, or the aunt rather, about to shoot the Jack-in-the-Box with a shotgun, it's just delivered in a really comedic way, and I'm like, at this point, I think your comedy's gone. I think it's just time to be legitimately horror.
I just don't see how you make any of those things, like, just straight up horror and expect anyone to take it seriously.
I don't know, there's a creepy factor to it.
There is a creepy factor, but, like, I don't know, like, gingerbread men are just not going to be that scary, no matter what you do with them. And, like,
what about the Ginger Dead Man played by Gary Busey?
Yeah, that's maybe one of the scariest things ever, but not because it's a gingerbread man, because it's Gary Busey.
Someone once left a comment on one of our videos suggesting, like, they fan casted a Geeky Gentleman movie, and I forget who was suggested to play me, but they suggested Gary Busey to play Milan, and I
yeah, that'd be hilarious.
No, I don't know, like, the gingerbread men certainly, but once again, they could have replaced them with literally anything else that would have been creepy, but once that Jack-in-the-Box thing swallows a child, that was just legitimately disturbing,
yeah.
And from that point on, I got kind of, I did feel like the comedy was kind of overpowering the horror at that point, and I feel like should have gone the other way.
I feel like almost everything was not everything. Krampus was legitimately frightening, I thought. Everything else was simultaneously creepy and hilarious. Like, when the Jack-in-the-Box, like, rears its head up in the attic and you can see him swallowing the daughter, and their reaction's like, are you kidding me? I was, like, laughing, but simultaneously, like, that's really creepy looking at the same time. And I feel like everything in the movie is half scary, half horror, or half scary, half hilarious, except for Krampus. He's just creepy, and I really like that.
Okay.
I should probably say that I didn't mention that I saw this twice, and they were both very different movie-going experiences. The first time, everyone was into it. This is a kind of horror that I'm going to call spectacle horror. It's kind of like Evil Dead or Poltergeist. There's, like, you know, people are falling through ceilings, and there's shotguns, and they're fighting, but it's also kind of, you know, pretty scary-looking imagery. As opposed to, like, Psycho, which was, like, more suspense-heavy. And everyone was getting into it. Like, you know, people started hooting and hollering, and it was like, whoa! You know, reacting just the way they should be. And then the second time I watched it, 4 people walked out. And
my girlfriend's brother apparently went to go see this in theater, and he had to go alone, as did myself, because no one wanted to go watch it with me. But he said when he was there, some guy brought his 5-year-old child. I'm like, he just doesn't want that kid to enjoy Christmas.
But what I wanted to say was that I think the kind of horror it is kind of more that spectacle, visceral kind of horror.
It almost feels like an 80s movie, doesn't it?
You know what? It's like from the poster. Looks like an 80s kind of poster, and I don't know if you guys watch Red Letter Media. I mean, I know
did. I saw the review of this.
They talk about how, like, the script, like, fell out of, like, an 80s filing cabinet or something.
Yeah.
It does have a lot of 80s feel, especially in just the look of it. I mean, so much of it is done practically with CGI added to touch it up, but a lot of it just looks like one of those 80s, you know, animatronic fests. Because, I mean, Steve and I watched through the first 2 Hellraiser movies, and there's a lot of that, like, just insane nightmare fantasy kind of thing to it.
I have a lot of things buzzing in my head, and I'm trying to articulate one of them at a time, and that's hard to try to channel. But I want to say that this really feels like a Twilight Zone episode. Like,
True.
That's
yeah.
the thing more than anything that I felt about this movie was it really felt like a Twilight Zone episode. I also felt like this movie had which is my favorite show, by the way. I also felt like this movie had an excellent visual style. It looks great. The snow, when they're outside, I love the sound design. Like, when they're outside, they can barely hear each other over the howling of the wind. Like, that was amazing.
And I mean, Krampus's sound effects are great, too. I was a little disappointed he didn't talk. I really wanted to hear a fucking horrifying-ass Krampus voice.
I'm glad he didn't talk. I like that he didn't speak.
No, I wanted him to sound... I didn't want him to sound like horrifying, like deep, evil, Satan-y voice. I wanted him to have like a really creepy, like Santa, but not quite.
So Gary Busey is what you were looking for. You want to get Gary Busey to voice him.
Yeah, that too. No, I really wanted him to say hello again to like the grandmother or something. I didn't even talk much. I just wanted him to say something.
Right. Speaking of the grandma, that scene where she has that flashback was amazing. The way they animate it to look like what
very referential to the old what is it, Simon and Schuster claymations.
Yeah. And like I thought the director brought a lot to the table with how he directed the film. There's a lot of styles. There's a lot of interesting visual cues. There's a lot of interesting editing. Like I really appreciate this movie, even though I recognize it's very flawed.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot to like, and I really think this is going to find a following. This is going to be a cult classic.
I don't know if I'd go that far, because I just I feel like it almost goes places, but then stops short. Like with a lot of the horror elements, like I feel like that's why the gore would help a little bit more. Like if we get an unrated cut or something where there's more gore to it, I feel like that would help quite a bit, because it feels like it's kind of going for like really trying to shock the shit out of you with how fucking disturbing some of the imagery is, but it's just not going far enough to have some blood on screen.
Yeah, it's a gateway horror film. It's for like 12-year-olds, and I think like 12-year-olds when they grow up, they're gonna be like, oh my god, Krampus, and show their kids, because it isn't that intense, but it's a good, like, if you're 12 years old, this thing's gonna like scare you.
Yeah, there's one scene in particular that makes me really strongly side with not having gore in this movie, and that's when the daughter of the main family, when she's underneath the truck or the van or whatever it is, and the Jack in the Box opens, and then it cuts to the aerial view of the top of the van, and it's like shaking, and you hear her like screaming. When I saw that, because I'm like I have the weirdest, like for some reason, whenever I see people under the age of like 16 die in horror movies, it for some reason it freaks me out for some reason. It's probably because when I was a kid, I was like, oh, kids in horror movies are always safe. And so I was like, if I was ever in a scenario like this, I'd be safe. And then, like, that's stuck with me now. So, like, whenever I see kids that, like, I think would have been safe in a horror movie, like, potentially die, it bothers me. And the fact that she doesn't die, you just hear her scream and the van is moving, I'm like, oh my god, what is happening underneath of that van? This is bothering me. And for, like, 10 minutes after that, I'm like, oh god, is she dead? Is she dead? She can't be dead. Is she dead? And then I was like, I don't know. And
then we never see her again, really.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I like the entire way through that no one is confirmed dead or confirmed alive after they're gone, after they're taken out of the movie. That I really like that, because it made it for some reason creepier for me.
Like that would be fine with me if we got a more definitive what happens after Krampus takes you. Because we get kind of like that scene at the end where, it's Christmas morning and everyone's like, it seems like they don't remember anything that happened, like it was all a dream, but then they see the ornament and then they clearly all remember what happened.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, and then we pan out and they're in a snow globe, so I'm like, okay, so did he put them in their house forever?
Yeah.
Now?
Can we talk about how we each interpreted the ending?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I thought. I was like, okay, so they're stuck in their house on Christmas Day forever.
Yeah, that's what I interpreted. Also, it was both. So I have two distinct things that I think it is between. I don't know which one it is, but it's one of these two. So I think either they're stuck in there together forever, and it's kind of like ironic because it's like, you didn't appreciate your family in the beginning, now you're going to be stuck in here with your family for the rest of like existence, maybe even eternity. Who knows? That's the one where they're stuck in the snow globe. The other one is I could see that maybe that's just, you know how like they're like Santa Claus, he's always watching you, he knows what you're up to. Like, I think I've seen that in movies before where Santa Claus always being able to keep tabs on people has been interpreted as like a snow globe where he can see you inside the snow globe. Like he can watch over everyone.
Creepy.
Yeah, that's really creepy. But so I think it's between those two, and I think it's definitely playing off of that he's always watching you. But I think that it is that they're just stuck in there forever.
What about you, Connor?
I interpreted it similar to how Rask goes, and I didn't even think about the he knows when you're asleep, he knows when you're awake kind of thing. But yeah, thanks for telling me that. I didn't pick up on that. And
Yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like I'd be more comfortable with the lack of gore if we knew what happened to someone once Krampus took them. You know, like if we got something, because you know, there's a lot of weird Santa Claus mythology that we just don't talk about anymore. Like, I think it's one of the Netherlands countries. Their version of Santa Claus is pretty basic. Santa, if you're good, Santa Claus will come to your house on Christmas Eve and leave a present for you. And then here's where it gets dark, because if you're bad, he'll take you and force you to make toys for the good children. Which is really fun. Like, think about that. Like, you get toys from slave labor, which, you know, that's really good motivation to be good, right? So, like, something like that would have been good if, like, you know, if you're taken by Krampus, then you're forced to, like, help create these monster things that are going off to murder and torture other people. Just something like that. Like it.
I guess like my whole stance on the ending though. When it was happening, like about 5 minutes before it's like I thought, oh, let me guess, this is all a dream, because it was getting so crazy. Like that part where the gate to hell opens up and he lifts the kid up by the head. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like I couldn't believe what I was watching. Like the balls on this movie is awesome. And then it faded to white, and they have that Lord of the Rings shot of the kid falling into the lava. And, oh. Then it faded to white. I'm like, and then I actually said out loud, I went, "Are you kidding me?" The first time I watched it, and like people in the theater started laughing when I said that, because I said it out loud. Like I was mad. Mm-hmm. And then of course, then I actually was like, okay, let me guess, or is it? And then they opened up the present. There's the ornament. Of course, or is it? But then everyone around him like stops talking and they start remembering what happened, and then we find out that they're stuck in this snow globe. And then I thought there was more to it than the "it's a dream" or "is it?" There's more to it, and I interpreted it as they're in a perpetual Christmas.
Yeah,
like just perpetual Christmas, not like they're going to be in the snow globe for the rest of their day. It's they're in the snow globe for the rest of their days, and it's always going to be Christmas.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those weird things. It's really hard to pin down for me. And you know, I hope this gets a sequel, certainly.
Oh,
because I would like more expounded on the mythos of this particular version.
I would like multiple, like, we're getting anti-clause from Kevin Smith. I'd like different takes on Krampus. I like this just the way it was, and I don't think I'd like to see a sequel.
I don't need a sequel. If they made a sequel, the same director, I think, wouldn't direct it, and it would... I think that the literal... Like, this movie, if you take someone who... This movie could have been directed so generically and lost all of its, like, flavor and pizzazz that it has. Like, I think that the director almost 100% makes this movie, because this exact same script, directed really generically and bland, could have sucked ass.
Yeah.
Like, this movie has visual style. Like, it has a vision. Mm-hmm. This could have been garbage.
Yeah, that's certainly it, and I mean, that's what makes me so impressed with this movie, but...
And I'm not saying it's a bad script. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad script. I'm saying that, like, literally, you could have ruined this if you just directed this like a horror schlock garbage type movie.
Do you think it helps that it's written and directed by the same person?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
I don't know, just for me, the mythos is so intriguing, and there are so many unanswered questions that I'd like to get more from this universe. Then, I mean, just the version of Krampus looks so fucking cool.
He's wearing some dead skin mask over him. That's horrifying. And, he's got the eye holes cut out. Did he cut off Santa Claus's face?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god. And he's got,
Maybe that's why Santa's not real. Maybe that's why
yeah.
Santa's not real, is because he killed him, and then, the universe, Santa is actually dead, and so you really shouldn't have any reason to believe in him, because there's no, evidence of him existing. He doesn't actually come to their house, or anyone's house in that universe, but Krampus killed him, and that's why that is the case, but he at one time was real. That would have been really cool.
And that's what
something like that would be really neat. Or if we just got he gets his faces from mall Santas or something.
Krampus was that mall Santa checking out the daughter. That was Krampus.
Right? No, it's just there's so many unanswered questions, and I really want to know more about this universe, which I've never said with. I'm trying to think. I've probably said it with a horror movie at least once or twice, but it's not a regular thing for me to think, and it's certainly never happened with a Christmas horror movie, because they're usually so damn shitty. It's just Christmas horror movies are usually just okay, it's a horror movie at Christmas. What about this needs to be at Christmas? Nothing. Or what about this needs to be at Christmas? Well, it's Santa gone crazy or a snowman or some such shit. There's nothing about it that really connects it to the Christmas season proper the way a lot of horror movies are connected to Halloween proper. But this one, it is completely grounded in the mythos of Christmas, and that's what I find really fascinating. So that's why I think that it is the best Christmas horror movie I've ever seen.
Have you seen Trick or Treat?
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen Trick or Treat.
I really like that movie, too.
It's written and directed by the same person as Krampus.
Yep.
Oh.
Damn, he needs to just make those two franchises for the rest of his life.
No, he needs to do one for every holiday. One about the Easter Bunny.
Thanksgiving.
Turkey. It's a
that was a
turkey or
reference
something.
to Grindhouse for anyone that got it. That's blood. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I could see that. The Easter
guys,
Bunny.
he needs to make a reboot of Leprechaun for St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, you're oh my god, you're so right. That's the guy. That is the guy to do it.
Yeah, that and Easter. We really need a demonic Easter Bunny.
Easter Bunny, and then yes, and then the Leprechaun. that would be awesome. Leprechaun 3 back in the hood.
I'm a lep in the hood, and I'm up to no good. I remember that rap song. Did you ever see the one? Wait, I thought it was Leprechaun 2 where he's in the hood. What's the one where he goes to space?
That's Leprechaun 4.
Okay, Leprechaun 4 probably has my favorite moment from the franchise, because he gets hit with a giant ray, and the very first thing he does is look inside his pants and then smile. Once again, Connor, just quit your day job. Go be a live studio audience member. No, so what else with this movie? What do you guys think of the actors in this? Because I think they're the biggest problem with the film.
Oh, I didn't have any problem with them at all. Because that was one of the reasons that I wanted to go see this movie. Because I always like to go see movies where I mean, I'm sure everyone is like this, maybe, I'm not sure, but whenever I see, a movie with actors from something in the past that I really liked, I'm gonna go see, I didn't see the first Ninja Turtles movie, but I'm gonna go see the second one because Stephen Amell is in it, and he's on Arrow, and I really like Stephen Amell, so, I'm that way with a lot of things. Even if I don't have any interest in the movie, I'll go see it because I want to see those actors that I like, see, them branch out to new things, so, Adam Scott, I love him from Parks and Rec, and Toni Collette, is that her last name? I think it is, but she's from Little Miss Sunshine, and Little Miss Sunshine is maybe one of my favorite movies. So I saw Adam Scott and her, and I was like, oh my god, I have to go see this movie, just if not just to see how they are.
Was she Stevie in this?
She was married to Adam Scott's character. Adam Scott was the main family, the mother and father of the main family. Oh
yeah, okay, you're talking about the mother. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recognized her from United States of Tara.
Yeah, that's another thing I've seen her in. So I just like to go do that with movies where I have actors. I'm like, oh, I'd really like to see this actor do something not at all like what they've done before. And so that was.
I was surprised by how good Adam Scott was, but it was the Anchorman guy and the lady from 2.5 Men that really kind of ruined it for me. Like those two just felt so out of place.
Okay. I want to I really like the actors in these roles. I like the characters themselves, but I feel like where my issues came in were with the extent to where we explored the characters. Because I mean, you get David Koechner, who is like the perfect role for Mr. Red State gun ho kind of you
A Trump supporter.
I mean, you could see him listening to Larry the Cable Guy comedy. So,
like Larry the Cable Guy almost would have been a better choice.
No. Because here's the thing with David Koechner's character. Like, he shows up, and he's playing basically David Koechner from The Office. But then, what happens is we're introduced to him as the stereotype, but then we learn more about him, and I think that David Koechner has enough, like, a subtle range there that he's definitely the same guy, but he has a humanity to him that I feel like Larry the Cable Guy would have just been like, Ray, the whole time! Oh my god! There's the Krampus! Oh my god! The whole time. But David Koechner's like...
It's a Krampus!
But then David Koechner listens to the grandma's story, and he says like, oh, that's crap, and he's like,
it's fairy tale crap.
Fairy tale crap. But then he also has like a definite life philosophy. He feels that a shepherd should protect his flock, and I mean, it's repeated a couple of times, but that's his life philosophy. And I mean, there's talk about guns, in this movie, and it's like, well, everyone's like making fun of them because they have guns, but man, those guns sure came in handy. I mean, so it's like,
did they though? Did they really?
Yeah. I mean, David Koechner would have died a couple, like...
They would have just died sooner.
Yeah. I think that's funny, though, because I almost think that's like a tongue-in-cheek way of making fun of people. They're like, well, you see, you never know when you'll need it. You'll never know when you'll need it. And then, like, yeah, if a Krampus attacks you, you might need a shotgun. Like, I think that's funny.
You never know when an evil teddy bear is going to bite your arm off.
But anyways, I do feel like, and then the Alison Tolman character, I thought her and Toni Collette had a really good dynamic, and they definitely loved each other, but they definitely had something in their past that was kind of separated them. I just wish we would have learned more about these characters after, like, because we're introduced to them. Oh, they don't get along at all. They're complete opposites. But they have more in common than you might think.
Yeah. See,
What's after that? Oh, I don't know. The Krampus comes.
I kind of disagree with you because two of my favorite movies do the same thing that this movie does in a lot of ways. Then I don't think I'll ever be able to go a single video that I've ever done without bringing up Alien or Aliens. But both Alien and Aliens, people always talk about how memorable a lot of the characters were, and it's not because they have like these interesting backstories. It's just because of the raw personality and emotion that you see on them in the moment. So like Hicks, Vasquez, Hudson, Drake, like Apone, everyone from Aliens, like, or Bishop, like, almost everyone in that movie, for me at least, and for a lot of people that really like those movies, like, those are incredibly memorable characters. You don't learn anything about them. It's just, like, Vasquez is hilarious. Like, you know Vasquez just by the way she acts, by the way she speaks. I think that's what this movie was going for, where it's like every character just needs to give a strong performance in the moment, and that's what you need to like them, because they feel distinct as individual characters. And in a horror movie where people are going to die, it's almost a waste of time to develop someone extremely, like, to give, like, this huge, like, three-dimensional perspective of who a character is, if they're not going to be the one that makes it all the way to the end at some point.
Yeah, but I'm not asking for a three-dimensional, like, to make them all, I'm not asking them all to be Norman Bates. I'm just, okay, like, here's the thing. We open up with Max, right? And that, by the way, I should say that's a really good kid actor they got.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so it opens up with Max, and then after he has his moment of, doubt and throws it all into the wind, he kind of goes away, and then it kind of becomes about the two dads. and then it kind of becomes about the two moms a little bit, and then the Krampus stuff all happens, and then it comes back to the kid at the end. And it's like, I feel like if the movie focused on one character specifically, and kind of like saw this whole invasion through this one person's eyes, I mean, sure, we get the other side characters, and we'd get their personalities, but I feel like when you're trying to, and like as Raska was saying, like, if you're going to give us...
Hello? Connor?
Trying to...
Oh, there he is.
What?
You cut out for a second.
Oh.
You might want to just repeat the past, 5 seconds of what you were saying.
What was I saying?
I don't know.
You said something about... You said something like Raska was saying, and then you didn't say anything.
Okay, when you said that you not all characters should be a fully fleshed out thing, I agree. Take one person and make them a fully fleshed out person, because what this movie does is it tries to go in, and we try to get a feel for every single character. And I don't think it's the right approach.
Yeah, I think that complaint that you're giving, if they had chose I understand what you're saying now, and I kind of agree. What they needed to do was the last character to be alive in the end. If it was going to be the kid, he should have had more to do, and we should have learned more about him throughout the middle section of the movie. Right. Because it's mainly about him in the beginning and the end, but the middle we kind of lose him. If the last character alive was like the dad, I don't think that you would feel the same way necessarily.
Right.
And so I think it's just a choice with the character that lives till the end. I think that maybe is the problem, not necessarily spreading it out amongst all of these characters. It should have been the person who was the most proactive and caused the story to move forward the most, which was probably the dad character.
Yeah.
Okay, and for me, I think this movie needed to be probably 15 to 30 minutes longer.
I agree.
Because, like I said earlier, we get so little of Krampus proper that that's also part of the reason why I want a goddamn sequel, is just to see more of him doing his thing. Because he has such an awesome entrance.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Opens a bag, and that's it. He is so fucking creepy, and then he just opens a bag and drops an ornament, and then drops the kid in there and has a creepy laugh. And I don't know, I was really disappointed by the little that he did himself. So I was like, if we got maybe another 15, 30 minutes of this movie, then he could have had more to do, and we could have given more time to Max at the end to reverse his decision or something. Because I'm not going to say it doesn't feel genuine when he decides, I take me instead or something, but I just don't know where the self-sacrifice thing came from.
Right. Can I also...
Because I guess he's trying to learn from... No, actually, wait, I take that back, because he does learn from his grandma.
Yeah, the whole point of what you're saying is that it's about what you give up. It's about what you sacrifice.
Yeah, I take that back the more I think about it. But no, we could have still had more with Max, where he's kind of learning that lesson. Because he only really has one line in the middle of the movie of any substance, which is, I think this is all my fault.
Yeah.
And otherwise, it's just, it's really just sitting around the living room waiting for stuff to happen.
Yeah.
I really like the way this Krampus rolls. I do. He's like, all right, kid, I'm gonna give you a chance to live. Oh, you don't want to live? Okay, fine, I'm just gonna throw you to hell. I love that, because, I mean, I'm going to talk about the Hunger Games for a second, because President Snow's an idiot. It's like
I haven't seen any of these movies.
Okay, at the first one, they're like, all right, the Hunger Games, there's only two of us living and we're not going to kill each other, so we're going to both commit suicide. And then what should have happened is the bad guy should have been like, okay, if you want to do that, fine, go ahead. But they're like, no, you can't, you need to live, because the plot says we need sequels. And so, and it was the most cynical. Are you kidding me? You just put yourself on the line to die, and these alleged fascist dictators wouldn't care if you lived or if you died. Sure, you'd be martyred, but then they could taint your name and get rid of your martyrship. And they should have. You know what? If more villains were like Krampus, I would be a much happier person. because
Yeah.
I'm so sick of like the good guy going, the bad guy going, I'm gonna let you live, and then the good guy going, oh yeah, no, I want to have my cake and eat it too, and they're like, nope, and then they kill him. Like,
Yeah, I really did like that it, like, you know, it does take, because like I said earlier, without seeing anyone confirmed dead, I kept waiting to see if those characters are going to come back. Because, I mean, it's a Christmas movie. You expect the monster to be defeated by, you know, the spirit of family or togetherness or whatever. I mean, that's usually how it works, though. So you expect the bad guy to be defeated by the spirit of Christmas, and that's not what happens. And that's probably why I think that this is a legitimately good Christmas horror movie, is that it is straight up the only, and not the only, it's one of the few horror movies I can think of where the monster isn't even kind of defeated by the end.
yeah.
Not even a little bit. Like, Krampus gets a flawless victory here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he, like, loses a teddy bear and some gingerbread men.
This movie...
That seems like perfectly acceptable losses.
Yeah.
I can just make some more gingerbread men.
It reminds me a lot of Jeepers Creepers.
Yes.
Yes. I think tonally also, it's very similar to that movie, but it definitely reminds me of that. And that's kind of also why I don't really want a sequel, because I feel like the sequel to this movie would be very similar to the sequel to Jeepers Creepers. Is it plural? Is it Jeepers Creepers, or is it Jeepers?
Yeah, it's Jeepers Creepers,
okay,
too.
yeah.
I don't know, like, I guess I could agree with that, but I don't know, there's just so much mythos. Like, the problem with Jeepers Creepers 2 is they didn't really do much to expand the mythos, they just kind of turned it into a generic horror movie trying to create a franchise out of it. If they did stuff to expand the mythos here, I would be legitimately interested. Like, I could see that it could very easily go wrong with the sequel, but I want a good sequel is what I guess I'm saying. Yeah. And that might be too much to hope for, I understand, but still.
Rasco, I feel like Jeepers Creepers should have followed the Alien mantra, which is Jeepers Creeper and then Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah, more movies should do that. Like the first Star Wars could have been Star War, then Star Wars would be the sequel to that one. That would have been, yeah, that could have worked.
That would get confusing very
Every movie should just do that.
What
Daredevils?
Krampus? Krampai.
Krampus.
Krampuses.
Krampus.
Grumpy old Krampuses.
Yeah. I don't know, I really want Krampus to talk, goddammit.
That's such a funny thing. Like, I didn't even realize I wanted it until you said something. Now I
like, just imagine, like, you know, fucking drunk Santa. Just like violent old man Santa. This is like the Santa that beats Mrs. Claus.
Come here, you little shit!
just grumpy old man Santa would be amazing. Like, I just not like giving speeches or anything. I just want him to say a couple lines, like Predator level talking, you know. Just a little taste. I don't know. It's an interesting beast though, because this I will guess defend it as the best Christmas horror movie, even though I think I'm being the most critical here.
Yeah.
Or the harshest on it, to be fair. Like, the acting is my biggest problem with the movie, and then there's just I like the first half hour's comedy, and then after that I get kind of sick of the comedy. I think it gets too intrusive on the rest of the thing, so I wish it got a little more hard-edged horror as it kept going. Because, you know, you can make gingerbread men more frightening than that, I feel. I think you could do it.
Maybe it's too late to kind of bring this in, but
go for it.
I knew I was in for more than I thought I was when the opening happened. Like, the opening credits I thought were funny, a little juvenile, they went on a little too long, but I thought they were funny enough.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, it's a wide shot of a bunch of people fighting, and then it says, the title card comes up, Krampus. I went, oh. So, I guess Krampus is kind of the physical manifestation of the unhappy Christmas experience, of the kind of the underbelly, the you know, the angry side of Christmas, you know, and it sounds...
Well, you're gonna laugh.
What?
But in that NPR story that was talking about Christmas horror movies today, they did get a quick soundbite or two from the director of this. You want to know what he called Krampus?
What?
He's the Santa Claus we deserve, not the one we need.
I know it sounds obvious when I'm saying it, but I do think it's worth mentioning because I'm not articulate right now, but I feel like it's worth mentioning.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is like the whole point of Krampus is to punish you for not having hope, basically. So, I mean, I'm glad I don't have a chimney. Because I am just a cynical son of a bitch sometimes, and you know, you heard me talking about Christmas music last week, and I'm just like, oh, it's all about fucking buying shit and just trying to manipulate you into feeling happy things, and it's not real, and it's like, that was just my whole thing with Christmas music, and this is like the perfect movie to watch after that. I'm like, yay.
I feel like it's not even... My favorite part about the opening title sequence of this is that it's not even an exaggeration of Black Friday at all. That's literally what Black Friday is. That's a tamed version. People die on Black Friday. That security guard that falls over in the beginning, he would be trampled to death. That happens every Black Friday. Someone is trampled to death. My favorite part about that is how, like, cynical it looks at, like, Black Friday, and how it's like, see, this is not what Christmas is about. Like, this is what it's become for a lot of people, and I thought that was really funny, because that's not even an exaggeration of what Black Friday is like. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, like, the funny thing is, though, I think 2 weeks ago, we do, on the newscast, we play a viral video because television is dead. We play a viral video, and it was from the most recent Black Friday, and it's just, I shit you not, it's a bunch of people diving over to get some fucking, like, toaster.
And the lady steals it from the little girl?
No, it's a little boy. Lady steals it from
boy.
the little black kid.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Just rips it out of the fucking kid's hand.
Why are you attacking me? She's like, why are you being physical?
Yeah. And, like, she's the one that has the gall to, like, cry wolf.
Yeah,
you know? I'm like, what the shit, lady? No, it is crazy, though, the whole Black Friday experience and the shopping craze. And, like, what I guess I never get about Black Friday is people beat the living fuck out of each other to get the stuff, and then they go and pay for it. You know? It's like, that always blows my mind that they don't just walk out of the store after they almost killed a man to get their things. Because, like, I don't know how much you guys know about, like, security at shopping markets and all that stuff, but it turns out they can't stop you. They're not cops. Yeah. Like, if it's a cop or something, you know, you say it's a toned-down version of Black Friday, yeah, everything except for the security guards tasing people. They're not allowed to do that. No one's allowed to stop you. You can just leave. Like, if you don't... I'm not sure how old my audience is, so, you know, if you're a 13, 14-year-old kid, don't fucking take my advice here, but if you ever get caught shoplifting, and, like, they tell you, oh, you gotta come to the security office, all this shit, no, just walk away. They won't do anything. They can't stop you.
So he's condoning thievery.
Yeah,
what they could do is they could take the footage to the police and they could get you.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but how are they going to find your ass?
They have you on camera.
Yeah, but, like, do they have your address? And
some cameras have, like, facial recognition, or they could, like, see you walk to your car and get your license plate because there's cameras in the parking lot.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's a bunch of things that, I mean, it could come down to, but no, seriously, you can just.
I've been thrown out of a store before. That's why I'm saying I got thrown out of Target one time. That's why I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly all these things that they could do, but I mean, they get paid like what, minimum wage? They're not going to do that shit. No, so honestly, it's just the one thing I've never understood about Black Friday is you almost killed someone to get this, you know, DVD player. And then you go and you wait in line to pay for it. I just never will get that. If you guys want a really good laugh, though, you should check out the opening sketch we put in front of Clerks, because that's just something I go back to and I just laugh at my I think I'm really clever sometimes. So, Okay, is there anything else that anyone wanted to bring up about Krampus before we wrap up here?
Once again, Krampus backwards is sup, Mark. Just thought I'd throw that in there for another time.
Just to bookend it.
Well, sup, Mark. I will say that the reason I said I think this is going to become a cult classic is because there are like moments and images that I feel are going to stick with people, like Krampus descending through the coming out through the chimney. Like there's like
I think I've got something to compare that to. Have either of you seen any of Hemlock Grove?
Nope.
Absolute dog shit series. Do not watch it. It is god awful. But go watch one scene, which is when the kid transforms into a werewolf. And he doesn't technically transform into a werewolf. He transforms into a wolf, which, that's not a fucking werewolf. That's a goddamn Animorph, people. But no, it's one of the best fucking werewolf transformations I've ever seen. Like the kid, like, he has to rip off his skin and like his eyes pop out of his head and are replaced by wolf eyes. And then after all that, he like fucking eats the dead skin and stuff off the ground. It's a great werewolf transformation, and that's what I can compare Krampus to. It's a great fucking entrance, and once he's there, he looks amazing, and then he doesn't really do very much.
Yeah, what I was saying though was like the wreath over the hearth and like the flashing lights and chimney, the bricks are popping out, like,
and the Christmas music is playing.
But then there's also like the stuff like the tree catches fire, and like there's like the hook, hanging on the chimney as well with the bells attached to it. There's I'm going to remember some of these images, and I think that, it's going to make people want to come back to this movie, and people are going to, this is that part where insert scene here. And so I think when you look at stuff like, that have grown a cult following, like, for lack of a better example, Troll 2. This is the part where he says, "Oh my god!" This is the part with the corn sex scene. This is the part with the, where Grandpa Seth bitch slaps a troll down some stairs. Like there are those parts that you remember.
Yeah, I can see that, and like I do think it is really good, and I might actually end up getting this if it doesn't come on Netflix or whatever.
Yeah, I can see myself sharing this with friends.
Yeah, and this is probably why you don't have many friends. This is why you're talking to me right now. It's okay. It's okay. No, I agree with you, Connor. It is a very striking movie, and it very much knows what it wants to be, and I really, really want a sequel. I really want to see more of this. And I also want a sequel to Trick or Treat. So, he just needs to make a bunch of these.
Yeah.
These are too awesome. Okay, Squatch, did you have any other thoughts besides Sup, Mark?
No, not really. I think that the only reason I'm saying this is because I've seen some reviews of this that like absolutely trash this movie. Like I actually have one pulled up right now that I'm looking at. I don't know how you go into this movie and realistically go, "Oh, this movie is ass, man. This movie's bad, man. It just sucks." I don't see how you go into a movie, like, obviously you can have your opinion, but I feel like, I don't know, this movie is it's just got its own flavor, and it's almost like, I feel like here, this movie has so many parallels to zombie movies, it's not even funny, but also I think that, zombies are a big thing where some people just have zero interest in zombies. That's a thing, yeah. Some people just have zero interest in zombies, period. I think that this is the kind of movie that some people will just have zero interest in, period, as well. But, I don't know, I think that overall, like, not that you can really look at movies or any, like, art form totally objectively, because it's almost, like, always a subjective experience in a way, but, I mean, just, it's technically well made, and it looks great. I think everything else is just taste issues, though. So overall, I don't know, I really like this movie.
Okay, let's go ahead and do a score. Connor, you go first.
Oof. I am going to give Krampus 3 out of 5 Fat Kids on Hooks. It's a very cool niche movie, and yeah, I'd recommend it.
Okay, this is weird. I'm going to give it a higher score than you. I'm going to give Krampus 4 out of 5 amazing fucking intros of broken chimneys and your dreams are also destroyed in the process. How about you, Roscoe?
I'm going to give Krampus 4 out of 5 child-eating Jack-in-the-Boxes.
Now, I'm curious, does the Jack-in-the-Box get bigger as it eats children like a snake, or does it stay that size and somehow just fit inside the box?
I wonder. I don't know.
It doesn't recoil back inside the box. It just, like, when the people are inside of it, like, the people just squirm inside of it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, I probably mentioned that I had to solve a dispute for people at work over this movie.
Oh, yeah?
I work at a movie theater, and one person walked out and he's like, I hated that movie. And the other person walked out and he's like, oh my god, I loved this movie. And so they had to ask me, like, what do you think, Connor? You see everything? I was like, I thought it was pretty good. And so the one guy's like, I hate you. I'm never going to trust you ever again with movies. So the other guy's like, yeah, cool.
Well, that's good. Cool. Alright, so that's going to do it for this week's episode of Geeky Gentlemen. Well, shit. What are we going to talk about next time? Hey, Squatch.
Yeah?
What are you doing next Friday?
Well, no matter what, I could probably make it again.
Yeah, you wanna pick a discussion topic that is related to the holiday season? Doesn't have to be Christmas.
I picked Star Wars. I don't know. I mean, I'd be down for that, but I don't know. Oh God, I could always pick Alvin and the Chipmunks. I think that comes out sometime soon.
It's gotta be discussion, not review.
Okay, just discussion-wise.
Related to Christmas.
Oh God. Discussion related to Christmas. Okay, can we discuss what makes a good Christmas movie? Does that work? Can we do that?
Yeah, we can do good Christmas movie discussion. Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
That's good Christmas movie writing, something like that. Okay. Well, that'll about do it, everybody. Thank you for listening, and hope you tune in next week for another installment of Geeky Gentleman Holiday Month. Let's see what they make up this time. Everyone, thank you for listening. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
Oh God, who's going next?
I'm the studio laugh.
I'm the Squatch Rampus. The Squampus.
And we're your Geeky Gentlemen, and we will be discussing things. It just sounded like you said Squatch Rapist. Or Sasquatch.